Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host JT, and if this is your first time tuning in, thank you and welcome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know every time I upload a new video. Today's guest I'm so excited to have on is a longtime friend of mine from Ocean Reef, Florida, as well as Northern Michigan. He played football at Sanford University and has graduated from there, and his story is truly remarkable. So please welcome Geroge.
Thank you. First of all, great. Love the intro. It started off years ago, way before it actually happened. I remember I was in, I think, Mexico on a cruise with my family. And I remember very vividly being in the water, floating next to my mom, and my dad was sitting on the beach. And I was like, I'm thinking about it. And she already knew what I was thinking about. I was like, I want to change my last name. I want to be part of this family. And to even date back a little farther, a little funny story. When my parents first got married, my mom and my stepdad, I think I was about 12 years old. And my mom, I was really upset about them getting married because I was the only Grimwade, okay? Because my mom was going to take my dad's last name as Musto. So I was going to be the last Grimwade in the house. And I'm coming up to her the night before her wedding day, which couldn't have been a worse timing. I go, look, I'm sad. I don't want to be the only Grimwade in the house. And she looked at me right in the eyes, 12 years old, and she goes, we have the cat. And to this day, I've never been so angry about that. Because it was just like, all right, we have a cat, but I want to be part of the family. So it goes on, and my dad never pushes me, and I tell my mom, like, I really want to be part of this family, even more so than I already am. And I have so much respect for not just mine, but for any step-parents out there, because it's obviously a very hard job to step into someone's life and just kind of take over as that father or mother figure that people so desperately need to be, that people want when they're being raised. So before the season started, my redshirt senior year, I go up to my mom and I go, all right, we're doing it. And we're brainstorming back and forth. And I'm like, I've been thinking, what if I just changed the last name on my jersey and just showed them and be like, hey, I did this legally actually too. And she loved it. And so we get there for summer, and I tell my strength coach, my offensive line coach, and our head coach. And I tell some of my friends too, but I don't want too many people to know, because I don't want somehow a kid to know, like a teammate of mine to know, that tells his parents, and then those parents tell my parents, and it just ruins everything.
Yes. Now, you played football at Sanford, yeah?
And that was the hardest thing, was keeping everything under wraps, because I wanted to tell people, like, hey, I'm going to change my last name. But, like I said, I didn't want to ruin that surprise. So come early October, we get my mom and I already went to the court, and we get the papers in saying, congratulations, you were able to change your last name. Actually, a funny story about that too. When we go to the office in Alabama, the courthouse in Alabama, the woman there said that we're going to approve this, but you have to come back and see a judge. And I was worried because I wanted to do this before family weekend. And a judge was walking by, and the lady, the receptionist, called over the judge and told her everything. And she goes, that's an awesome story. Like, I'll sign off on that right away, so you don't even need to come in. So that really helped us out.
That's awesome.
So we get everything set. I go up, so I'm a journalist, mass communication major, and I go up to a couple of my friends who are also, and my classmates who are also on the sideline taking pictures and video for our social media team. And I go, hey, this is to Chashin. And I go, hey, I really want to get pictures or videos, just something for me to remember this moment forever. I want a memento of me showing my dad that I have changed my last name to his. And he goes, I love that idea. So Chase talked with another one of the video producers, and they got everything set up. So what they originally did is we did an interview, and then they mic'd me up, and one of the guys had my paper from the judge. So I'm nervous. Because I'm not nervous that he's going to be like, why'd you do that? Because he's been wanting me to do it for years. I'm just kind of nervous as like, this is a big step in my life, and there's no going back from it whatsoever. And, he mics me up before, so I do it before the game. So if when you watch the video, you can tell I'm out of breath. But that's because not only am I overweight, but I'm running around on the field the whole time doing stretches, getting myself warmed up to actually play a football game.
And the emotions probably.
And the emotions, everything. Right? The overweight, the emotions, and running around. So I jog up to him, and I the one thing I really regret about this whole ordeal was not scripting anything like in my mind. I jogged up to him and I'm like, I'm gonna wing it. I'm just gonna tell him I love him and this is what I did. Well, but I felt like there wasn't enough. So I'm standing there out of breath, borderline crying, about to tell my my stepdad, who I've always called my dad. I'm gonna tell him like, hey, I love you so much, and to show appreciation for you, I changed my last name. Little did I know that video was going to absolutely blow up.
It's unbelievable, the response that it's gotten. Mm-hmm. And the words that you did say, were just so genuine and from the heart. And to see his response and his his emotions it was beautiful. It really, it's really an unbelievable story. What did your coaches and teammates, feel or express to you during this time?
Oh, it was awesome. So, like I said, not too many people knew about it. I wanted to keep it very under the radar, so that way other people wouldn't find out and it'd get to my parents. But for the people that did know, they stood outside of the locker room and they watched me do everything. And then when I got back to the locker room, I got swarmed. Coaches, trainers, my teammates, and people were finding out more and more before the game had started. So the reaction that I received was it was awesome. Any doubt that you could ever have of doing such a big thing was just immediately removed. I was like, this was absolutely the right thing to do. And then I received they made the video. They posted the video on Sanford football's Twitter account, and nothing really it got around the school a good bit. So I had teammates and classmates and professors like, hey, saw that video, that was awesome. And then
it, like you said, it blew up.
Absolutely.
Went all the way to ESPN.
Yeah, I remember I was sitting in we were about to go on the field for a jog through on a Thursday. And so my phone's in my locker, but I go downstairs from meetings. We got about 5 minutes, use the bathroom, get your cleats on, whatever, before you go on the field. And I go over there and like the entire defensive line is like hanging out by my locker room. And I go, what's up? And they're like, ESPN just posted you on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And I go on my phone and I'm overwhelmed with Twitter, Instagram, all these notifications. And then from there, the rest of the day, check down, House of Highlights, Bleacher Report, Barstool. Any account that has any type of following was reposting and resharing the story. Every time they post it, they get over 3 million some views on it. Pretty much every single time it hits social media. It was nuts doing the interview with Steve Hartman on the road, CBS, ABC, SportsCenter, everything. Access Hollywood, for some reason, I did an interview with them. It was absolutely nuts.
Out of your story, what was one of the most impactful stories that came to you?
It was the responses that I got through social media. It was reading. I didn't read that many of the comments, because some people do have tendencies to be kind of evil online, and I didn't want it to ruin my feeling towards what I did. But I did read some, normally like the top comments, and a lot of them were absolutely just amazing. They were talking about you had stepsons and daughters tagging their their dad saying, "I love you so much," and you have people saying, "I have two stepchildren. I would have loved if they did this," or "I had two stepchildren and they did do this." I got a lot of DMs from a lot of people, which I don't know why people felt I was so qualified to give them advice on their life.
Yeah.
But people were asking me like, I had a woman direct message me on Instagram and said, I have two children and I've been dating this man for 7-8 years now. How do I get them to call him dad? And I told him the same thing. The reason why I never started calling my stepdad dad was until they were married, because you don't want to commit to something too early on and get your hopes up for something that you assume and you would want to be a father figure in your life, but that goes away.
That's great advice.
Yeah. But I also had a lot of kids that reached out and said they don't know who their dad is. They don't like their dad. They love their stepdad. One person asked me what the process was like. I sent them 2 paragraphs long of a response, like, all right, you go to the court, you have to have this paperwork, you need to have absolutely everything that you have. But it was nice. It was that was my favorite part, was kind of receiving. It wasn't the exposure from it. I'm an offensive lineman. Offensive linemen are not big look at me type people. So after a couple of days, it did get kind of a lot. But I did really enjoy the response, like the people actually reaching out to me and asking me for advice, or just saying how much it moved them or how much they appreciate it.
Exactly. I think one of the coolest things is that you did this for yourself and you did this for your dad, and just to look at obviously it grew so much more than you had expected, but I think the coolest thing is that you are able to see all the amazing impacts that it's had on so many other people too. And by you sharing your story is what has helped tons of people out there with being able to go out there and share their story, and also to make decisions like you did, and better their family. And so for you sharing your story, you've impacted and helped so many.
That's one thing that I told myself, and I told my girlfriend and my parents. I said the one thing that I want to be somewhat to do is, because my intentions were, I want to change my last name to my stepdad, and I want a video just to keep forever. My intentions were never to blow this up and everything like this, but it has just been an amazing experience, and I'm happy that I was able to get some people to at least tell their step parents that I love them, that they love them.
Yes.
I got an interview with the Sirius XM channel. It's a country music channel, which is apparently very popular, and I did an interview with them, and they said, like, what's one thing that you'd like to say to listeners? I said, if you have any step parents in your life, give them a hug and a kiss and say that you love them, because you don't know the kind of how hard it is really for them to step in when they step in, to take over a massive role and to care for you as well as the other loved one in that relationship, and to just kind of take off from that. So they're doing a really hard job. So that's the one thing that I wish could really get pushed out there, is show appreciation, support, and love your step parents just as much as you love your biological parents.
Respect and love goes both ways, not just for you, but it also your dad. I mean, for you to make this decision, he was a role model and such a important and impactful person in your life. I think it's amazing that his relationship that he created too with you, both of you.
Yeah. I mean, we grew up together. We did Michigan together. We did, we've done, college football tours. We've done everything together. He was, that's why I never really called him. I never call him Michael. I don't call him my stepdad. He's my dad, and that's ultimately what it was to show, is like, you are my dad, and this was the best way to show you, and I guess at the same time showing the world how much you do mean to me.
Well, thank you so much, Geroge Musto, for being on here and for sharing your story, because everyone has a story to share, and it's so important that you get out there and you share those words and you share what really means to you in your life. And so thank you for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to my YouTube channel. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. And I hope stories like George inspires you to share your story, because your story matters.